Hello, my name is John Francis. Thank you very much for stopping by my YouTube channel. This is the first episode of what I expect to be a number of episodes. I've decided to start this YouTube channel called Inner Sun Communion because of the very momentous times in which we live. Humanity is presently at a crossroads. One road leads to incredible freedom, and the other road leads to increasing slavery, to put it straightforward. So hopefully this channel will be instrumental in bringing viewers spiritual discernment, the ability to discern between what liberates and what does not, what imprisons. 2,000 years ago, Jesus came to this planet with a mission of liberation. He came to liberate humanity from the human condition. And we will be exploring throughout these episodes just what exactly is the human condition. And from a very mystical, cosmic point of view. If we don't know where we are and what we are doing here, then it will be very difficult to choose a path that leads to liberation. All the forces around us are moving us towards a path of increasing enslavement, and so the path of liberation is the straight and narrow path. But as Jesus said, few be that find it. Hopefully the few that find it will be also finding this YouTube channel. Inner Sun Communion is what Jesus taught secretly to his close disciples. He used metaphors and parables when speaking in public, and as we read in the Bible, very few people understood what he was saying, but privately Jesus explained his parables. It's been 2,000 years and those parables have remained undecoded in the general public. Actually, very few people have decoded those parables because of an externally oriented mind. We will be providing the keys for decoding those parables. And to my knowledge, they've never been presented publicly in 2,000 years. The inner meanings of those parables. I know that's a very challenging statement to make, but I will be very careful to document and provide the justification for the interpretations that I will be sharing with you. I don't expect anyone to automatically believe anything I say. It's something that is being offered for you to test. And as Jesus said, for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. And what he meant by that was inner eyes and inner ears to understand the inner meaning of words, not just the literal interpretation. As St. Paul said, the letter kills, but the spirit gives life. And that has been a problem in those that profess to teach the way of Jesus, is that they have the literal interpretation, the outer interpretation, but have not even considered that the words, the metaphors, may be referring to inner dimensions of the human body and of the soul. You're probably wondering, how did I come about such a viewpoint? Well, it happened in an instant about 50 years ago, in one day in February of 1975. I was in a very deeply philosophical mood that day. I was a research graduate student doing research in human memory, and I came across a problem that I really couldn't solve unless I answered the question, what is truth? I was trying to decide between two competing theories of human memory, and I couldn't decide which one was true. And so I had to ask a more basic question: what is truth? Now, it should be noteworthy that I was not into metaphysics, religion, spirituality, or anything like that, and I was not on drugs before, during, or after. And so it was just an intellectual person making an intellectual inquiry, asking over and over again for hours, what is truth? What is truth? I had to go deeper and deeper, asking that question. And then finally, I gave up. And I felt I was never going to get the answer, so I just surrendered. And in that moment of deep surrender, after hours of inquiry, I suddenly let go and had what is now known as an outer body experience, ascending upward and out the top of the body. And then I had an encounter, found myself in a center of beings that were radiating divine love into the center of my chest. And that provoked what I now call an out-of-soul experience. So from an out-of-body experience to an out-of-soul experience to a cosmic experience of universal oneness. And from that point of view, I began to understand the human condition. On the way back down into my body, the physical body, I inwardly heard, not as a voice, but as a mental impression, if thine eye be single, thy body shall be full of light. And in that instant of hearing receiving those thought impressions, I had an immediate understanding that the words of Jesus had a far deeper meaning than I was taught as a youth, or just from listening to preachers and so forth. And that led me on a 50-year inquiry into the inner meaning of the words of Jesus. 50 years it took of meditation, daily meditation, of studying many scriptures, certainly of studying the Bible, and of continuing to ask, well, what does this mean? What does this mean? And gradually the keys were given to me, which I will be sharing with you over the course of these episodes. And it's extreme. I've been essentially waiting for 50 years until the time was right, occasionally sharing it, but never doing anything in such a public way as I am doing now, because of the momentous position that the planet is in, at a crossroads. And I feel an obligation to share the inner teachings of Jesus that have been forgotten essentially for 2,000 years. And once I begin to share the inner meanings, what I'm proposing, I think you will understand how they differ so much from the external teachings and why they are really important. Jesus said, if thine eye be single, thy body be full of light. Being full of light, having a body full of light, you also have a soul full of light, because before the light can reach the physical body, it has to pass through the soul. And from the soul, where does it come? It comes from the Son of God, S-U-N, the central Son of all creation. When I ascended upward during my out-of-soul experience, I came to the threshold of an incredible realm of eternal light, where every being was inwardly illuminated. There was no sun in the sky, so to speak, but the light was coming from everywhere, from the inside out. And I realized how different that is from the conditions on earth, where we have an external sun which sometimes brings life and sometimes can bring death on this planet. But the central Son of God, the divine Son, always brings life. It brings eternal life. And I began to understand that Jesus, and during these 50 years, Jesus was an embodiment of that central Son, which actually he was referring to when he said, the Father in heaven, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. In heaven, everyone is in line with the divine light and the divine will. So when Jesus gave the Lord's Prayer and he said, Our Father who art in heaven, he was referring to the central Son. The prayer is to bring the light into this world. Jesus said he was the light of the world and he was one with the Father. This will all be explained in the coming episodes and may seem very mystical to many viewers, but I will be very diligent in backing up everything I say with inner experience and the words of Jesus in the Bible as the final explanation and revelation. I know there will be many questions, so I will be open to questions, certainly in my YouTube channel, and I will be providing my email, which I can give you right now. It's all lowercase, innersoncommunion@gmail.com, innersoncommunion@gmail.com. So you will have direct communication with me, and I will certainly be reading every comment on the YouTube channel. I'd like to ask if there are any questions right now, but I'm sure there are, and unfortunately in this one-way dialogue, we'll have to wait until I receive those questions via email and comments. So I think that's probably enough for right now. We'll understand why the parables were spoken in codes and why they remained hidden for so many years. Why did Jesus speak in parables? Because these inner teachings of Jesus are only ready for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. Those who are ready. It can be very puzzling and disconcerting to give these inner teachings without proper background. And so this is how Jesus taught it privately. He gave the metaphors publicly, and then I'm sure those that were interested came to him and asked for explanations, which he gave. And having parables, actually, there was another reason for it. They actually preserved the teachings, because being in parables, the editors, the scribes and Pharisees didn't really understand what he was saying. And so those who would tamper with the written word, the Bible and the scriptures, didn't really understand what was there. So they just passed it along unaltered. So fortunately we have the parables came to us in a very secure means of communication. And also because the parables use metaphors and simple language and references to nature, it's very easy to translate such concrete language into other languages. And so we have it right now in English or in other vernacular. And I feel that the translations have been very good, more or less, with some exceptions, which I will point out. But they were preserved by their cryptic nature and the simple language that was used. But there are keys. For example, St. Augustine said, when you see numbers in Scripture, you would be wise to consider a mystical interpretation. That is one major key which we will be using to decode the parables. In addition to the words of mystics, for example, the mustard seed, St. John of the Cross gave us a clue to what that mystic mustard seed meant. He actually quoted the Bible and said it referred to the center point of the soul. So we have a mystic there who gave us a clue to the Rosetta Stone to decode the parables. So I want to thank you very much for stopping by and using your valuable time to look at this video. Please share it with others. And whether you like it or dislike it, that's okay. Just click the like or dislike button. I'll take it in either one. I'll take it as a compliment. And also, if you want to be notified, as they say, sign up for the YouTube to be notified, and share it with other people. And comments certainly will be welcome. So I hope you found this first presentation of my series helpful, and I hope it coming through clear and the audio was fine. This is my first attempt at making a YouTube of this length, and of this subject matter. So I hope the technical aspects were fine, and any improvements that are needed, please note them to me directly by email, innersonscommunion@gmail.com. Okay, thank you very much, and have a blessed day.